Sorry about that. Bloody calls. Calls. Anyway, so as I was saying about the contingency planning, for a never event, the school could have closed for a multitude of reasons. They could have had a burst water main, but trying to put it into a similar comparison, to me, something like, we had a severe weather incident and we was snowed in for 3 months, for example. Food supplies started diminishing. Yes, sweetheart?
Can I go in the garden for it?
Baby, 3 times I've said to you can go in the garden. It's absolutely fine. You just needed to put your shoes on. Okay? All right, love you. 3 times I've told them. Why do they keep asking me? I really don't know. So yeah, like a similar scenario. So I keep comparing it to like if you was to be snowed in, and surely you would have contingency planning for it. So therefore, you're not doing everything from scratch. You are implementing, you are mobilising something that you've already planned for in advance. You're always going to have a lesson learned, because something that you plan for, you're always going to have things that you're going to need to adapt and evolve, etc., etc. But, you should have a foundation of, should this to ever happen, this is what we'll do. For those that have IT or that are comfortable working on an online IT environment, we will do this with that cohort of children. For the 1-2% that don't have access to IT or don't have a PC or choose not to for whatever their beliefs are, that's very, very small numbers, I'm quite sure of, we will do this for them. The marking will be undertaken in this way. The to and from correspondence will be undertaken in this format, in this medium, etc., etc. And I just assumed all of that was in place. And it's weird because with the secondary, I keep getting told, we did have contingency planning. But then on the other hand, I get told, we're doing all this from scratch. Well, what one is it? You either have planned for this kind of scenario or you haven't. Right, thank you, sweetie. And if you haven't planned for it, as far as I'm concerned, that needs to be for reflection. You need to review that as an organisation and you need to say, why haven't we done that? And if you haven't planned for it, be open and honest about it as well. Because I think for me, we was about to break up for the Easter holidays. And I have suggested this to the secondary school. If you are doing everything last minute, which again, I can't understand why there was. It was so clear weeks beforehand, the government was going to do a national close down of schools. A number of my other friends' schools, primary and secondary, started to prepare for that eventuality at least 2 weeks before it was actually officially announced. So a lot of them already had packs prepared. They took them home with them, ready for the school to close. They'd already tested all their IT systems, make sure their logins were working. Already had a wealth of, this is where your lesson plans are going to be Monday to Friday. A lot easier in primary than secondary, of course. But they'd had a lot of that already given to them, already discussed before the schools even broke up. So I find I feel like I'm a little bit, there's a bit of a disconnect to my child's secondary school, who's like, we've had 3 days to cobble this all together and we're in unprecedented times and we couldn't have been prepared for it. And I think, I just don't quite necessarily agree with that. Respectfully, and I'm not saying that they're not working very hard. It's a very challenging environment to work in. However, I do feel that this could have been planned and managed a lot more effectively or efficiently than potentially what it has been. Obviously, that's just my personal opinion, and I know that they are working very hard, and I'm not saying, I don't want to take... What have you got in your face? Why is that chocolate on your face? Where did you get chocolate from? Oh, God. And I don't want to take any of that away from them, but I do think that a lot of this could have been avoided, if I'm honest. All of this running around like headless chickens, working till 12 o'clock at night, putting packs together, and you think, why are you doing that, if I'm honest? One of the other suggestions that I actually put to the school was, if you was that unprepared, why didn't you make the decision as an organisation or as a school to say, right, we're going to bring the Easter holiday forward to now. Give yourself 2 weeks to get yourself prepared. Take the pressure off yourself as a school, as teachers, as parents, as carers, and all the other roles that you undertake, because you're not just a teacher. Take that pressure off. Give yourself some breathing space of a 2-week period. Take the pressure off of us as parents. Take the pressure off of the children, the students, and give yourself time to properly plan. Give parents the opportunity to make some suggestions on what would work well and what wouldn't. So you're not doing it all by yourself. The lesson planning element, to me, absolutely needs to sit with the teachers, because I'm not an expert in that area, you know. Obviously, that's where you need to guide me. But the actual delivery of it, when you've got a multitude of skill sets across your school from a parenting perspective, that would be able to assist you and guide you and give you some advice on how would be a really, really good way to deliver this. For example, for me, my suggestion would have been bringing forward the Easter holidays for 2 weeks, giving yourself some breathing space. In relation to the IT systems, 100%, I would have one year group logging in at certain times of the day so that your systems don't get overloaded. Yeah, it's simple things like that. So split it, or reduce your working week was another example suggestion that I put. So you have 5 year groups, just get each year group to work 2 days a week, for example. So you know, as a teacher that's trying to manage all of this virtually, you're only dealing with that 1 year group per day, basically. The kids can get up and go, right, okay, I'm just going to work a normal day today. I'm going to get up, start work at 9. I'm going to finish at 3 o'clock, but I've got tomorrow off. And then do the same the next day, but I've got the next day off. And work alternate days. So again, it's more to do with your IT system and the management of that, because unless you're massively upgrading your structure, your infrastructure to deal with this kind of traffic, mate, you're going to keep crashing. You will do. It's absolutely going to happen. So all of that then brings its own problems. Oh, I can't log in. I'm really, really slow. Why is it taking so long to cache? Why is it taking so long for me to be able to upload this? Why am I timing out? It's because you've got 2,000 students all online at the same time trying to do the same things, and the system isn't designed for that, for mobile working, because your background, the thing that it sits on, your foundation, isn't strong enough. And all that'll happen is it'll keep doing this. And when you get loads and loads of traffic at, say, 10, 11 o'clock when people are logging on, or 9 o'clock, it goes down. Yeah, and then as people start logging off, it comes up again and it works a lot more effectively and efficiently. But you're wasting pupils' and parents' time by getting them to sit there for 5 minutes. A couple of minutes doesn't sound a long time when a system's not working, but it can seem like forever when you're just sitting there like this. This is my area of expertise in the IT industry. And sorry, I'm rambling a bit again, but they're just suggestions that I think, had it been delivered maybe in a slightly different way, and even just asking parents if they've got any suggestions on how this can be delivered, if they've got any ideas on what would be a good process for the pupils at home to work towards, you know, we'd welcome that engagement piece. And it just wasn't. It was nothing in my eyes. So I did feed all that back. The response wasn't as positive as maybe one was expecting. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm a big girl, got broad shoulders. I can take these things on the chin. And I know they're under a lot of pressure, and some people just handle pressure better than others. So, yeah, for me, I think the tone of which I received the response was quite unexpected. I was doing this at the end of the day. When you read it, it's all wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Isn't this all absolutely fan-dably-dastic? Well, no, it's not really. And if you're really a really strong, good leader, and you really want to lead by example, and you want your organisation to stand out from the rest, in my experience doing these sort of things for a huge amount of years across the spectrum, across the country, then when you get your feedback forms, if I'm honest with you, do you know what I used to do with the feedback forms for my service delivery? Great, gone. I'm not interested in any of that. I've done a brilliant job, brilliant. Yeah, that's great, thumbs up for my team. Yeah, for my company. awesome, awesome, awesome. The area that I used to focus on was when I didn't do it right, or we made a mistake of some kind, or it didn't quite go according to plan, or we didn't meet my customers' expectations. They're the ones that I would sit down and dissect unbelievably, speak to them directly. Why didn't it work well? What could we do different? You know, what lessons can we take away from this to improve our service? All of that kind of thing, because it's only when you listen to what isn't working well, what hasn't worked well, that you really grow and you can really move forward in as positive footing. Everyone's going to have lessons learned to a certain degree in this experience and this process. And schools are no different to the rest of us. You know, we're doing lessons learned as parents, you know, trying to deliver this at home, like I've done for the last 2 weeks. What's working well? What's not? Learn from it, evolve, adapt. So you get to a point where what's working well for my family is exactly what I need to do for my family. But if I don't constantly review how I'm doing things and what is working well and what isn't and why, and doing that analysis piece, I'd still be sitting here with my finger up my beep, not knowing what I'm doing, flapping in the air, going, oh, what am I doing? I don't feel like that now, because, you know, we've got into quite a good routine. We've got the BBC Bite Size has been a really good thing. You know, actually teaching the children not all together has worked really well. But then sometimes I can do different subjects, like, you know, like yesterday my 10-year-old did art whilst I concentrated with my 5-year-old online, and then they swapped. So my 5-year-old did some colouring in and some drawing whilst my 10-year-old went on and did some online learning. And then once they'd done that, my eldest, my 13-year-old, then for about an hour and a half sat in the kitchen on his own quietly and did the BBC Bite Size GCSEs. He did all biology. And that worked really well, because we've learned that that's how is the most efficient and effective way for me to deliver this at home with a larger than average family. So, yeah, well, that's my little penny's worth anyway. In regards to it, I know it's probably not very helpful in relation to the home working, which is what all this is supposed to be about. But I think it's really important that, you know, at the end of the day, it's part of sharing lessons learned in its totality. And, you know, if I don't also share, I think, my experience with the schools, which, as I've said, I think I've had a completely different experience with my children's primary school than I have with the secondary. And then when, again, you know, you try and do that feedback, engagement, maybe it was me, because I think when you communicate on email and messaging of whatever medium, it can be interpreted in the wrong way. And it wasn't my intention if I did come across, certainly not confrontational, because that doesn't help anyone. That's certainly not how I am anyway. But, you know, if it's come across in a, can't think of the word, not condescending, that's the wrong word as well. Whatever, you know, like in a less than positive manner, then that was definitely not my intent. But again, you know, if someone's tired or they're reading something quickly and they've got 10 other things that they're trying to focus on, and you then receive something that you're not expecting, it can then be interpreted the wrong way. And then rather than digesting it and thinking of the kind of response, you then react to that instantaneously, because it was very quickly the response that I got. Sometimes it can, when you have a bit of time to digest what you've read, it could have been obviously responded to in a slightly different way. But my intention was to genuinely help and say to the school, look, this is just not working for us as a family. For my eldest, he has had no contact with the school at all, not even a call, nothing. Yes, my angel.
I want to help them out there. Fun.
Daddy's still doing the hoovering. Actually, I should probably help him with this light. So yes, I think that's a good excuse for me to sign off. So anyway, TTFN for now. We're going to go outside and do this driveway, and we'll do some reading later tonight and stuff like that. But other than that, that's our day done. I'm very excited. The kids are all excited, all in our work gear, so be good. When we're going to go out on the drive, we've also got a lot of plants. I thought it'd be a good opportunity. I've got a plant book. And we've got a RSPB nature book thing. So I'm going to take that out with me whilst my other half's doing the actual work. We ain't digging out for sleepers and all the rest of it, I can assure you. But I'm going to take my nature books out and see what plants we've got and what flowers and see what the birds in the tree and just try and do a little bit of, I don't know, is that geography or biology? What's the ones when you do the leaves, Dal? Dal? Oh, we don't know. I don't know why I'm asking him. But yeah, so again, it'll try and do it a little bit educational, but we'll be outside, which will be so much fun. Sun's shining, so, ain't all bad. But anyway, good luck to you. Hope you're enjoying your day and TTFN.